what's up guys? My name's Josh.
I'm Jonathan. What's up?
We're gonna do a little video about this YXZ. It's a 2017. Originally was a sport shift, not anymore. So pretty much everybody said that it was impossible to convert a sport shift to a stick shift, or it wasn't worth it. And we're gonna go over some of the details on that. And it definitely was very affordable. John will probably have a little bit more information on the exact details because he paid for all the parts. There's enough of them out there to find parts pretty cheap. So backstory on this thing, I bought it in 2017 for pretty cheap. They weren't really well known back then. I did get it as a sport shift and I had a pretty good luck with it. Didn't really have any crashes or anything. Sold it to John a few years later. I wound up buying a 2021 3-pedal. So the things that have been done to this, well, first of all, it's been rolled how many occasions? At least 3 or 4.
Twice bad, at least 3
I was in the
or 4.
car for one of the rolls with John and our little dog.
Oops.
No injuries there. I know John rolled it and our other buddy Joe rolled it probably one time pretty easily in the sand at Jawbone, right?
Yeah.
Rolled there. Each time with a stock roll cage, which everybody says is super dangerous and you're going to die if you're rolling those. We've also proven that's not true.
Still here.
His family member borrowed it, and the problem with these things, they give you a really great false sense of security, and he we probably figure he's doing at least 65, 70.
Yeah, he was doing about 60 around the corner, rolled it 3 times, just
at least
completely damaged it.
Held onto the steering wheel luckily well enough to keep his hands inside the car and bent the steering wheel. That's how crazy it was. But overall, no injuries there either, just some bumps and bruises. So far, do you want to go over what you've done other than the 3-pedal stuff? What's been done to it? I know we got the gusset kit, whatnot. Yeah,
I've done the gusset kit to it. I've installed the radio on it.
So the gusset kit, you can kind of see it. It's a pretty hefty. What was the brand of it?
I don't remember the brand of it. It wasn't too bad. It was here. There's a reinforcement here as well. There's some on the back half. You got some here, some here, down in here, and then there's some more around the front end up in here, and a little bit more at the tail end to help support twisting.
Right. And then we've got
the 2021 cage, which fits on there nicely, just bolt in.
EMP windshield.
Yep.
Gonna get the wiper kit. That's what I've got.
And then I've done the FabTech rear.
Fast Lab.
Yeah, Fast Lab.
This thing's awesome.
Oh no! Oh no! Hold on, buddy!
And then I've also done the extra battery for the stereo.
And then you got the, was it Graves exhaust?
Yeah, I've got the Graves full exhaust.
Tune.
And I've got it tuned from Wellers, which has been great. They've been awesome. I got a lot of parts from them. I have the block off plates.
Rockford Fosgate stage 3, right?
Stage 5.
Stage 5. I have the same one. I don't even know what it is.
So, and then I did the
tires,
rear view mirror.
Tires, and what's that tire size again?
30s on this with beadlocks, offset, 2.5 on the front and 4.5 on the rear.
Nice. And then you got the steering rack upgrade. What was that again?
The Weller steering rack. It's just the stock steering rack configuration with the Weller's tie rods.
Stock ratios.
Yeah.
Duty Weller tie rods.
Everything is super, super solid. I love them.
Done a couple nose dives out in Pismo.
Broke the stock steering rack on that one. That was fun.
Pretty far out there. We stole we had 3 YXZs out there, so we parked one of them, stole the rack off of our buddy Joe's, drove it back out there and reinstalled it out in the middle of the dune, so that was pretty fun.
Fun times.
Anything else we're missing?
Nope, I think that's it.
Okay, so let's get into the 3-pedal modifications, what it took. So the nice thing is, if you can see here, the transmission's already out. He just pulled it out a few days ago, so we got plenty of space here, which also will allow us to see some of what he's done. So what was basically the main parts that you had to buy and replace?
So I had to replace the entire wiring harness and ECU.
And how much were those?
I got really lucky. The whole kit I got for $350. It included the 3-pedal, the shifter, everything I needed to do the job.
eBay stuff, right?
eBay used stuff. The only thing that it wasn't done was it wasn't flashed, which my old ECU was flashed, which Welders took care of me, no problem. Right about now, if I were to part it out, it'd probably be about $500 or $600 to do this, and it wasn't very hard at all. I just had to remove all the stock ECU and the stock wiring harness. I reinstalled this stock wiring harness, and this is actually off of a 2016 model, so it doesn't matter what year you get it off of, it will work.
And the nice thing people don't realize is pretty much the whole wiring harness, this whole center piece comes out, and it's just some plugs and the motor and everything's back here, the transmission's right there, and then there's some wires in the front that pull out, but for the most part it's all pretty much right there, right?
Yeah, the bracket for the shifter mounts different, so I did cut that out. I don't know if we can get it on video, and I welded the new one in place. If you come over here, you can kind of see the welds right there where I re-welded these in.
Yeah.
Here and here, yeah. And same on the other side.
So maybe like an 8-inch section that was cut out for the way the shifter mechanisms work.
Yeah, and then I just did the lineup, so it came out perfect.
So the plastics all still fit.
Yep, everything's still stock.
That was the only welding that was required, right?
Yep, and then this fit in perfect. The only thing is this hits here, but it's perfect because engagement is right about here, so about a half-inch off, which feels way better when driving.
Well, that's the same as mine, I'm pretty sure.
No, your engagement is way further away. It's like 3 inches away. So
it eliminates the whole actuator, the whole shift actuator that's normally down there, the electronic system.
Yeah, so the reason why I switched it out is it had been sitting for about 1.5 years, and the clutch actuator seals had gone bad. There was no replacement for the clutch actuator seals. So I had to replace the whole clutch actuator.
Which on a 3-pedal there,
you don't have
$6, $7 for those same seals, but you can't buy. They're slightly different on the electronic one, right?
Yeah, you can't.
So there's a manual clutch master cylinder on the 3-pedal. The Sport Shift has a slightly different O-ring, and they don't sell them. You have to buy the entire actuator, which was like they quoted you $1,300. That was a discount, right?
Yeah.
So it was like more. It was like $1,500-$1,600, and then labor was crazy. So they sold it to him at a discount with no labor, I think, because they made a mistake.
Yeah, I paid a little bit of labor. It was like $1,300 total at the dealership. Got it installed. I did 3 trips on it, and then I started get the clutch actuator can. Took it into the shop, sat in the shop for about 2 months, and they weren't exactly sure what was wrong. Said it might be the MCU. I could replace that for another $1,200, but that might not even solve the issue.
So we found out that so every time you make any modification to a Sport Shift, you have to basically get it recalibrated by the dealer. But even the dealer that we went to, they had no idea that was even a thing. So they kept kind of chasing their own tail, even though, he spent all this money and it still wouldn't work. So from there, I should probably preface this. We're not experts. We're basically YouTube trained people, and we take risks and figure things out the hard way a lot of times. So we've spent a lot of money and chased our tails also. But somehow we always figure it out. But surprisingly, there's no forums or any online videos about this. So also, let's go into that. So how did you even hear about the possibility of doing this, and what made you think of it? Obviously, partially me.
Well, yeah, partially you. You got the stick shift. I wanted the stick shift. But the thing that made me want to do it was the cost of it. It was just too expensive and too risky. As much as I love the sports shifter, there was just too many aspects to it, and the cost of repairing it versus selling the unit and trying to buy a new one was just chasing my tail. I wasn't happy with that.
And we're dealing with a car that's already been wrecked multiple times and rolled, and the value of it was kind of getting lower, and it was sort of worth taking the risk to see if we could do it. So we like taking on challenges we probably shouldn't a lot of times, but here we are. So
here we are.
So yeah, so I think what's the next steps that we got into? So what do we need to do now to make it work, and what's not working still?
What ended up happening with the whole process is I ended up doing the swap. I ended up having Welders tune the ECU. They delivered it to me. As I said, everything on the ECU and the wiring harness came off of a 2016, was plug and play to my 2017, worked perfect. But when I turn it on, it will not show me what gear I'm in when I'm driving, and will not show me the temperature of the engine when I'm driving. Now, if I turn the vehicle off and turn the ignition on, it will flash on, show me the temperature for a split second, and show me only if it's in neutral gear. So when I did some research on it, found out that I could swap out parts in the transmission and make it into an R model transmission, which should allow the computer to understand what gear it's in and what temperature it's in. So that is what I'm currently trying to do.
Right, so that's one of the big things that people say is impossible to fix. You have to, it's not worth it because you have to change the entire transmission over to an R model transmission versus the SS. So we're actually going to modify the SS. Hopefully, we're going to be working on it today. We think we have all the parts to modify the sport shift transmission to make it basically identical to the R model transmission. And it should have the sensors and everything that it needs to be able to show everything on the stock SS dash, right? It's still the same dash.
Yes. And it will allow me to have a protection between reverse gear and what gear I'm in right now. So the way the gear ratio works in the SS is it goes reverse, neutral, first, second through fifth. And an R model is reversed. It has a locker between reverse and first, and then neutral. But my main issue right now is between neutral and reverse. I can grind the reverse gear, doing damage to my transmission and other issues. I don't want to have that. So doing this kit and this remod will allow me to also put in the locker. So I'll have to do some modifications up here, change some of my switches around that I've installed. But at the end of the day, it will be worth it. So I installed a reverse kit, or a turn signal kit, and this controls my lights to turn it off, and then I can access my turn signals to my light whips. And then I can turn my light whips back on and off.
Cool. So then the switch goes basically right in this area. There's a little reverse paddle you got to hold when you go past first. When you get into first, you hold that down, go past first. So reverse is basically, it's reverse, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, like you said.
Yeah, it's just like a normal motorcycle or anything.
So you got that part.
I got everything I need. I got the cable. The cable, I'm not sure if it will work. It's off of a 2016 model. I do have one coming for the transmission, everything that I got off of a 2021 model.
Yeah.
So we'll see which one works. If this one works, great, but trial and error.
Yeah, what's crazy also, if you have any questions about what is compatible between like a 16 to 18 versus the 19 plus, we pretty much have figured out everything that does and doesn't fit with it, including, like we said, the 2019 plus roll cages.
Diff too. I replaced it to a 2021
The rear diff you replaced is 2021. I have I rebuilt my motor. I had a stock cam chain tensioner that failed on me, and the valves had a little bit of a relationship with the pistons, and so I got a couple bent valves. So I bought a used motor with a bad bottom end, and through the 16, it was a 2016 motor, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So we pulled that motor, rebuilt from two bad motors, one with a bad top end, one with a bad bottom end. We just swapped the two good top and bottoms, and we probably did it in 4 hours or so.
Yeah.
So, you know, we did something right. It's been running for quite a while, but we'll get some videos on that one too. But yeah, is there anything else that we're missing before we get into work?
Nope, I think that's it. I think it's time to get to the project and get going. It was pretty simple on the removal, and I think we're ready to start chugging along on this.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of videos of how to pull the transmissions and pull the diffs and all that stuff, so we're not going to bore you with that, but we'll get into some of the nitty-gritty and things to look out for on the build. So there we go. Also, we're doing all of this work living basically off grid. Is that what you would call it?
We got power, but RV lifestyle.
Yeah, so we're full-time RVers. The difference is we're not retired, or we're not in a little conversion van thing or a little $150,000 Sprinter van from some money that we got from somewhere. We bought these things really cheap, fixed them up. That's another project we'll get into also. But this is mine, sort of our garage. It's what is it, a 30-foot? I don't even know. I've had it for so long. 30-foot little toy hauler. So it's a mess right now because we literally live out of it, work out of it. Got some baby stuff in there. And then this is his 34-foot.
33-foot, yeah.
33-foot RV. He's got one slide on the driver's side, but that's where he lives with his 2 dogs. He has 2 Belgian Malinois that are pretty cool. We'll get them in some videos too. But yeah, this is where the project's going to be happening. Do you want to go over the parts that you bought that we're going to be trying to install here?
Yeah, there aren't too many parts to this in all reality. So...
Got to have the TV for the YouTube videos.
Exactly.
We do have internet piped into this, but it's not running right now because we're at a friend's house. So we don't full-time anywhere. We have a unique situation that we'll talk about later. But all right, yeah. So bring that thing into the light so we can see it pretty well.
So this right here is the main piece that I need. This controls how it basically shifts.
So you got your shift forks, and that's what makes everything work. So this is basically the main internal difference minus one hole that we have to drill, right? That's the main.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
Pretty simple. And then I have one more piece inside. That's going to be the cable and the gear lock lever.
Yep. Cool. What's your expertise, Joe? Introduce yourself.
I kind of have done on taking transmissions apart. Actually, no, that's not true because we did the low gearing kit in my YXZ.
Yeah.
So I have some stuff that we've done with it.
So I did mention Joe earlier that he's the one that owned the other YXZ. When we were at Pismo, we stole his steering rack off of his. Unfortunately, he sold it, but he might get another one. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what I get.
So,
but
yeah,
hopefully we can get this one running.
Yeah. So I think we will. I mean, we tore it apart. His, I think something happened when he let one of his friends borrow his YXZ because the transmission lost a few teeth on first gear. So would you pay for that low gearing kit?
The low gearing kit was like $600 all in with all the gaskets and everything.
Yeah, I think it was like $300. It was like $350 plus the gaskets and stuff. It was cheap.
It was bro, but like I'm talking like $600 all in, like shipping and everything. Like,
it was cheap.
Yeah.
Labor is always the most expensive part. So we'd never done it before. Watched some YouTube videos. Got it done. There were a few little hiccups that we're going to try to show you guys just to save you some time that we couldn't really find really well. But we're not going to bore you with the entire thing. Yeah, so we rebuilt his transmission out of his garage. We did need a press for that to get the main gear off for first gear, but we're not going to need to worry about that right now for what we're doing. So we'll point that out also. So, yep, that's Joe.
Let's get this going.
All right.
All right, so this is going to be the hardest issue right now. So this is the lockout for the reverse gear, and this is going to have to come through the transmission. Now, there's nothing showing where it comes through at. I don't have any schematics. I have a service manual, which I've kind of looked through, but there's not much showing it. There's not anything on Partzilla. I kind of think it might be coming through here, but I won't know until I pull the transmission
That looks right.
And I start getting into it. So that's where we are. We're going to start getting into this.
Thanks, Yamaha, for always using the same casings and things, because if there's one that's, or a hole or something that's not being used for some reason, it's probably for one of the other models, which we're hoping that's it right there.
All right, there is the first thing.
So you do need an impact for this main output. That's the main output shaft right to the rear.
Yes.
So that comes off really nice if you have a really good impact.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can get creative other ways. But
yeah.
How much do you think this transmission weighs?
I don't know. 300, 400 pounds, if that.
No chance. No way. No chance. It's probably 200 pounds, less than 200 pounds. It's pretty easy. I mean, John's got special strength. He just picks it up like pretty much with one hand. Sometimes he uses the second one if he needs a little bit of help. Same with our motors. We actually are able to pick up the motor in the YXZ by hand. You don't need a hoist or transmission hoist. I mean, you know, you got to be a little bit strong, but I mean, definitely with two people, it's pretty easy to maneuver together. That's a 30 millimeter.
Yeah, 30 millimeter.
So far, it's been all what, 8s, 30.
8s, yeah. Nice thing about the impact.
Yeah, if you're tempted to put like a crowbar or something between these, I'd recommend not to, because you could break these off and then you're going to create a bigger problem.
Yeah, just aluminum there.
Yeah, they're not very
So he pulled that off. You had the big washer up top, and you had the small washer on the bottom, right?
Yep. Went like that. 1, 2, 3.
So that's the order. All right. But it's probably...
I don't know. It's not that heavy. Maybe
It's really not bad.
150 pounds.
It's probably 150 pounds, maybe less.
So,
All right, what's that?
so now we're going to start taking apart the internals so we can get this part out.
So, yeah. So that just slides out. That's just sitting in there. Now you can see the top of the shift tube or whatever that thing's called.
Yeah, so this is that shifter that we need to replace.
Mm-hmm.
So right now it should be in neutral. So this is aligned in neutral. It's where I left it. I may have to turn it to get this off. As you can tell, it's not lined up. So I'll have to deal with that in a second. And now we're going to break apart the casings.
Pretty sure there's an order you're supposed to do it, and you're supposed to go slowly, but we don't have time for that.
Oh, this is when we put it back together, we'll do it. I don't think taking
There's a torque sequence.
Oh, I forgot to take that
There is a
out.
torque sequence for it to come off and on, yeah.
Oh,
Whatever. It's a Yamaha. I can handle it.
I've done this before. She's still alive.
Yeah, famous last words.
Yeah.
There you go. Just a couple little love taps. Oh, there was that part that we were talking about. It's going to come out. You got 1, 2, and then your tiny little washer. And this one has to sit up.
And so that's it's coned, so it has a specific way that it has to go back in.
Yeah.
So there's an inner and outer way. So if you put it in backwards, it can cause damage to your bearings and stuff.
Yeah.
So that seals up that main bearing in the middle there. Cool. There you go. Look at that thing.
There we go.
So now let's try to figure out if that hole was the right hole or not.
Yeah, so well now we have to,
Or not.
you know what? Yeah, that's not it. So, well, I think what we need to do first is we need to get this out and get the new one in and change the gears.
It's that hole right there. No?
Yeah, probably.
That's the hole.
Yeah, is that the one we were talking?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, that's it. For sure. Yeah, you can
Thanks,
see.
Yamaha.
Yep. So, now we're going to need to remove this. We're going to first, we need to remove, which is our, so this is first, this is neutral, no, this is reverse, this is neutral, this is first. So what we need to do is we need to switch
So you can
neutral
see the shift forks are right down
and
here.
first, and then once we have that done, we'll install the reverse gear lock.
So we're going to have to change the opposite side gears also.
Yes.
This is the clutch side,
Yeah.
and then that's all the internal parts that makes it go. Which those gears are pretty beefy for a little 1,500-pound thing. This is like your Speedo, right? I think this is your Speedo.
Yeah.
So that's plastic. That doesn't matter. You lose your Speedo, who cares?
Yeah.
So Joe's over here. He's cleaning up the whatever this is.
The casing.
Cleaning up the gasket maker that he put on there last time. Looks like he did a pretty good job. There's not too much overfill. Transmission casing, there's no gasket in between. It's just gasket maker. It's just that goop, which you have, right?
Well, I got an actual gasket for this one. I got the Weller's reusable gasket this time.
Nope.
No?
Nope.
That's not it.
Oh.
That's just the clutch cover.
No.
Not for this one.
Well, then I'm
There's no gasket. I don't think they make a gasket for that.
There we go.
Boom.
Just need a little taps. That's the part that we need to swap out. And
So there's that ball bearing.
go. And we just dropped the ball, which is imported.
We also, well, I think that was my fault last time we did that. That's the clutch rod. And then the ball bearing sits on the top of here.
Which we put in wrong last
Which
time.
I think I put in wrong last time.
Yeah, we did.
And it fell out inside the clutch casing, made a whole bunch of noise.
Put a hole in the clutch.
Put a hole in the clutch casing. We have no idea what we're doing, but we figure it out somehow. But yeah, that, and then there was that other other piece. Where's that other piece that I pulled out? So this is the piece that presses against the clutch basket bearing, not bearing, spring, that circle, this circle piece.
And here's the ball.
Presses it open, and then there's the ball. So it sits just like that. And then this is the end of the shaft that goes through the transmission that your clutch pedal is actually pressing this whole rod. So that these can spin independently when the clutch isn't moving. This is always moving, right? One or the other? No, this one's always moving.
Yeah.
What did we do? JB Weld to fix that case?
Yeah.
Is that still the same one?
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Yep. Am I going to lose bolts? I'll hold it up here. Look at that. It's still holding up.
Yep. And by the way, when we did that repair, the transmission was installed. I just took the casing off, repaired it, and reinstalled it.
Yep.
So I guess now the task is to try to switch out these gears. Well, that might be an issue.
Why?
So this gear is locked into place.
Is it?
Yeah, there's a little ring right here that locks it in. So I may need to replace.
Yeah, this comes off.
Yeah, I know, but I need to move this gear up. It's not going to lock back in place now. So when I put this gear on, it's a different size. This is my neutral gear. Well, maybe it'll. Oh yeah, maybe it will. Let's see. Go up here. Just like that. Doesn't sit that away at all. It doesn't sit down that way. So that doesn't come off that way. I guess it's time to do a little bit more research.
Sounds good.
This didn't work. Trial and error.
You need to.
I may have just overstepped.
Sometimes John speaks with confidence
and doesn't have it.
and he's like, I have to change these gears out. But I'm thinking, who told you that? Nobody told him that.
Nobody.
I think the only thing that needs to be changed are these tubes.
Yeah.
And the shift forks and everything, it will engage reverse in the right order according to these things, not according to the gears being swapped out.
Which is what Wellers told me.
This is going to be the output.
That's shifting. You can see it shifting through the gears. I think that's the end. So there. One.
Well, where's reverse, though, is the only thing that I want to see.
So there.
There it is.
There it is.
That's reverse. Perfect.
So,
And that's always all the way at the end?
Yep, and that's it. So then we should be first.
I don't know if the camera's picking it up.
So that's first.
So that's rotating the same way as him.
And then that's neutral.
Rotating this way. That's neutral, so I can hold that.
So, and then I could go into second.
We'll go back into reverse.
So,
We know everything else is working. So it's all rotating this way. And then now he's rotating it that way, and it's spinning this way, if you can see.
So everything's working now. So now we got to drill.
So now
out.
it's reverse. That's what we wanted. It was first, neutral, second, third, fourth, fifth. Now it's reverse, first, second, third, fourth, fifth.
Reverse
neutral first. Yeah.
No, reverse first, neutral.
Yeah.
Street bike.
Bike
configuration.
Neutral first.
Right.
So, all right. So now that's working. So now we can pull all this back apart. Now that I know I have it all done right. I've got to drill out for the lockout and get all that installed, and then I can reinstall all of it.
All right.
We've officially drilled the hole. We're going to test fit this, see if everything lines up. So, get this piece in here.
It's nice and snug.
Yeah. Make sure we get it in the right orientation. There it is. Let's pop this in. And then, boom. So now if we line this up, there is neutral.
So it can't spin past that right now, but then when he pulls it, it allows it to go past into reverse. So that's the reverse lockout.
Yep. Just got to finish off this side.
I think it's going to work. This right here is the filler, so that's the way the transmission sits. So the oil level is somewhere around here, sits down here, and then obviously the hole that is drilled is here. So it gives you probably 3 or 4 inches where the oil is sitting. Obviously it's going to be sloshing around, but we were kind of worried if we didn't do this just right, it was going to cause a leak or dripping while it was parked or whatnot or driving. But we might get a tiny bit out of there. But I think with the gasket that we have, I believe it's going to sit in this part here, and that should seal everything up nicely. So we're going to throw a little bit of, I think we're going to throw some grease in that just to try to clean up some of the, or fill some of the little abrasions that we got, some of the coarseness from the drill bit, but it's looking good so far. That's all we need. Show us what it does here. So
that's first gear.
That's first gear. It would go a little farther if that lockout wasn't there, but since we have the lockout, you push it out of the way. You can rotate it that little bit there, and now it's spinning in reverse.
Boom.
Awesome. So one issue, you got to make sure that you get that in place as soon as you press in the shift lever. You need to put that in place and make sure that it's out enough here on this end.
And lock it in.
And lock it in with the washer. There's a washer and a C-clip.
That's right here.
So we got the clutch cover on, the clutch in, everything in, and then realized that he hadn't clipped that other side of that shaft in, so it scooted back, so we had to take it apart again to be able to get it to where we needed it to be. All right, we got the transmission in the wrong car. This is my 2021. That's the one we were just working on. Obviously, we're making comparisons. So the one thing that he did not buy for this little thing, which we figured out is right without having checked first. You can see mine right here is in the same position. See that well, but basically this bracket right here for the cable, we got to make that or find one, a couple dollars probably. But otherwise, yeah, this thing is beautiful, works good. That little cable goes to, I mean, I'm sure if you're watching this video you know about it already anyways, but that's what actuates or deactivates that locker, so you can go into reverse once you hit first gear. So we just gotta take off the covers and see how the mounting brackets work. All right, well, it looks like there's one more thing that we have to modify or figure out, which is the shifter bracket is different on mine. This is my car. The way the shifter bracket mounts is quite a bit different from the original SS. So he has this bracket here. It looks like mine mounted like maybe up to these bolts here up top. I don't know.
Yeah, it did. So mine is gonna have to stick out like that. So I'll have to make a bracket that comes from here or down here, and then I can mount it there.
Well, they both stick out like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically this, we just have to figure out a way to make a bracket from here, a little L bracket from here to here to hold that in, and then we're probably gonna have to cut the plastics because his are 3 or 4 pieces.
3 pieces.
And mine's just 2.
Yeah.
So, not a big deal. We can figure it out. Other than that, I think
we're ready to go.
Yeah.
Time to drop the transmission in. Alright, so we just got a quick, simple mount here done. Drilled a hole here, drilled a hole here, slipped it through. Can't come out that way. Reverse lever, lockout, works perfect.
Alright, time to throw it in.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so the transmission's in, sort of. We haven't bolted it down or anything, but at least we can test and see. Also, the clutch is not bled, but we can see if it's going to read the gears or not.
I still have the error code.
But you started in gear, right?
Yeah, I'm in gear. So we may need to assemble everything and get it up and running.
So far, failed. But we're getting there. So John's put in a little bit of work off camera. He's got the hydraulic clutch bled and ready to go. He's got everything installed, bolted up. He used a little L bracket that he just bolted into the side of the existing frame. So that's all set up. There's a spring on this handle as well as a spring on the transmission that keeps it tensioned, so that's all working well. Let's see what happens when this thing starts. Right up. What was that?
That was it. Maybe I have the lockout too tight.
Alright, so we've got everything all buttoned up for the most part. Not everything, but that's the shifter, or the lockout right there. Pull the lockout. So that's working nicely. Just a little L bracket from parts. I think that shifter's all engaged in the right spot, so go ahead and fire it up. working except for the gear shift indicator. We still have that error code, so we got to figure out what we need to do to fix that. But okay, Jack. He's a jackass. But yeah, one step closer. Got to do a little more research, I think, to figure out what's going on with the shift codes. I don't know if that dash may be specific to the SS. That could be the issue.
Yeah, I've read that might be the issue, but we'll see.
So if so, I mean, those are cheap also. So that might be the missing link, but we'll figure it out. Stay tuned. Well, I think we got it. Wow.
Boom.
So, black, sport shift, white, manual.
Done.
All right, so luckily I have a 2021 YXZ.
Model R.
Yeah, not sport shift. And turns out that works. So 16 wiring harness, 17 sport shift, 2021 R model cluster, they all work together. So
Yeah, all you gotta do is re-gear it, pull that center part in the transmission, and you're good to go. Put in the reverse lock.
re-gear what?
Not re-gear it. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been there. We got to change the gears on the shafts. So yeah, that works. Alrighty. Peace.